I. Guillotine Cutter said this without flinching. With his thin slit eyes, he smiled, amused. Both honest to a fault, Dramaturgy Zan has already returned the right leg of Hartenderbladessen, and Episodican has already returned her left leg. Is this what they call chivalrous spirit? How quaint. In other words, Hartenderbladessen has recovered accordingly. Former human boy, Hartenderblade subordinatecken. If I face you directly, it is impossible for me to harm you. In any case I am not immortal, he said. www.bakatsuki.org web link 6/15. August 7, 2015. Monogatari series Kizumonogatari / Koyami Vamp 013 Bakatsuki. He complacently says with nonchalance. What are you going to do to Hanekawa? I won't do anything at all. If you won't do anything at all. Guillotine Cutter immediately replied. If you want me to do something to this girl, I will do it, though it is so nice that for a new former human a hostage is normally applicable. With a genuine vampire opponent that won't do, or maybe if the hostage were to be a subordinate the story would be different, I guess. Would you be the hostage to use for Hartenderblade? You're kidding me. I am deadly serious. Nimbly. Like he was using Hanekawa's body as a shield, Guillotine Cutter thrust it at me. Like it was a tool. Like an actual tool. I don't possess superhuman strength like you fellows, but I am still well built. If it is just one girl I can kill her easily. God. It is clear he is built. It is very clear from the fact he's been handling Hanekawa with a single arm for a while. However, what this man forged is not body but his force of will. He is too strong mentally. In this situation he won't show a gap. Incidentally, I won't kill her in a way that will give her time of resuscitate, like it happened with Episode Con. I will crush her brain with a single blow. If I destroy a complex organ like the brain of a human, even with the blood of the subordinate of Hartenderbladessen, a perfect recovery is impossible, don't you think? Do you still call yourself a human? Oh no. I am God. Guillotine Cutter. With one hand in front of his chest, so declared. www.bakatsuki.org web link 7/15. August 7, 2015. Monogatari series Kizumonogatari / Koyami Vamp 013 Bakatsuki. It follows that you fellows who oppose me should not exist. I swear by God, that is to say by me, I won't allow you to exist. Though if you became my ally like Dramaturgy Zan and Episodican, maybe it would be worth it to let you live. I refuse. I answered by reflex. Just receiving that invitation in itself gave me goosebumps. God, my foot. You are quite the monster. Ashinomim is probably looking from somewhere at our current state of affairs like he did until now. However, no matter what, he can't interfere. It's a Oneo fight that's the result of his negotiations. He can't but shut his eyes on the hostage. There could have been the possibility of Kiss Shot coming out for me, but it is out of the question having Kiss Shot getting killed by Guillotine Cutter at this point. Kiss Shot still has some ways to go before recovering completely. Also, even assuming Kiss Shot would win, in that case she won't be able get back her arms. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Then I had to give maximum priority to Hanekawa's life. I see. Without looking particularly disappointed, Guillotine Cutter nodded. Frankly, I thought there was no way a new one like you could defeat Dramaturgy Zan and Episodican. You know those two are unexpectedly pathetic. Look who's talking. You didn't come out in the beginning because you were using those two to test me, right? So that when your turn came, you had chosen a valid tactic. Ashino carried out the negotiations with the three separately, but the one who decided the turns of Dramaturgy, Episode, and Guillotine Cutter was the opposite team. Dramaturgy was the lead-off man. Episode said his batting position didn't matter to him. And then Guillotine Cutter aspired to be the last hitter. www.bakatsuki.org web link 8/15. August 7, 2015. Monogatari series Kizumonogatari / Koyomi Vamp 013 Bakatsuki. It is not like I thought so deeply. It is just that Episodekan left the turn order to me, who was his superior, and to Dramaturgy-zan. Dramaturgy-zan was the first player in order to get the reward. Ah, no. Now that I mention it, Dramaturgy tried to make you a comrade, right? Then he must have thought you could have been defeated by me or Episodekan beforehand. Well, of course, it is not like I didn't think like you say, but even if either one would have exorcised Hartender Bladison, in the end, my church would have gotten the credit. You wanted to have it easy. The one giving the reward was you, I bet. Then what's your purpose? If the purpose of dramaturgy was a reward or an invitation, for episodes surely the reward was secondary to personal feelings, therefore he didn't fuss over the turn order hereupon. The purpose of Guillotine Cutter? There was no need to ask. It was his beliefs. Well, for me it's fine. I am not a person who shuns hard work in order to improve this world. I won't spare myself any toil. The idle talk lasted too long, Guillotine Cutter said. Indeed he was talkative. He may be a talkative man by nature, a loose tongue is good, I could say it's a sign he is being negligent. There are two ways to defeat an opponent who has the upper hand. Either win by letting him be negligent, or win by making him tense. No matter how much I think, this time it could only be the former. I defeated both dramaturgy and episode doing this. And then Guillotine Cutter, now, is being negligent. Even if he doesn't have a gap, he is being negligent. There is a chance of winning. However, in order to do that, I must throw away my humanity. Hanekawa. www.bakatsuki.org web link 9/15. August 7, 2015. Monogatari series Kizumonogatari / Koyomi Vamp 013 Bakatsuki. I ignored the words of Guillotine Cutter, and I called out to Hanekawa, who was held by that arm. It's all right. Hanekawa can't reply. Because she is being strangled. She can just watch me. I continue. I will definitively save you. What a bother. Guillotine Cutter said in a calm tone. I won't be as forbearing as humoring you with this high school friend play. God, that is to say me, says this, it's time to begin. Begin. Huh. I say, facing Guillotine Cutter. What can I do? As long as you keep Hanekawa as a hostage, I can do nothing. Besides, I don't have the intention of doing anything. I will completely submit to your orders in these circumstances. A fight is not feasible. God, that is to say me, says this the instant the fight begins, you should raise both hands and say I give up. In other words, the fight will be settled the instant it begins. I understand. I nod without hesitation. I shouldn't even have a reason to hesitate. Therefore, let Hanekawa go now. That would be so convenient for you, there is no way I will do it. The release of the hostage will be after the fight ends. Do I look like a fool who gives away his weapon in the middle of a fight? That too is the word of God. Don't kid me. Hanekawa is a weapon? She is different. www.bakatsuki.org web link 10/15. August 7, 2015. Monogatari series Kizumonogatari / Koyomi Vamp 013 Bakatsuki. She is different from you or me. You are not a person who can touch her. Ararajikan. At that moment, Hanekawa cried while being strangled. While her neck seemed to break at any time. While she was threatened to have her brain destroyed. Nevertheless she cried. Don't care about me. It's not like I can do that, I shouted back. And then that became the signal of the beginning of the fight. Of course, Guillotine Cutter doesn't move, he doesn't do anything. He just opens faintly the thin slit eyes and just laughs a lot towards me. He just makes a loud laugh. Without wanting to hear that laughter I kept shouting. I told you I didn't want to turn back into a human even at the cost of belittling you, and then but if I can't meet you anymore, there wouldn't be any meaning in turning back into a human. I didn't even have to raise my hands. The instant it began, the fight was settled. It is as Guillotine Cutter says. It's just that I win. I thrust away Guillotine Cutter's body with all my strength. At the same time, I also managed to plunder Hankawa's body from him. It was simple. It was extremely simple. And convenient. www.bakatsuki.org web link 11/15. August 7, 2015. Monogatari series Kizumonogatari / Koyomi Vamp 013 Bakatsuki. Why you what the heck? Guillotine Cutter groaned. Don't tell me this is the power of vampires. Wrong. It's the power of friendship. However, the distance between me and that guy was a little more than 10 meters. Guillotine Cutter didn't allow me to get closer than that. Nevertheless, even if I threw a shot or a roller, I didn't have the confidence I wouldn't hit the hostage Hankawa, used as a shield. Therefore, without moving. While I wasn't moving, I shortened that distance. I shape-shifted my body. There is no Gakuin in a Batoru main character like this. There's no way he exists. He would be the villain instead. Like Dramaturgy shape-shifted his arms into wavy blades, I shape-shifted my arms into plants, and I extended them forward as much as possible. I considered many things, but in the end I couldn't conceive the image of extending the body in a short time, so I switched to the image of replacing the body with plants. Plants are my specialty. Because I was thinking every day I want to become a plant. Obviously I never thought I want to become a monster. Undoubtedly it turned out like in the image. I thought that even if we are both vampires, it would be impossible for me to do what Dramaturgy does. However, Ashino refuted that. You can run on walls, you can jump 20 meters. Then, he said, you should at least be able to shape-shift your body. It's the same theory. Crabs dig a hole imitating a carapace. You have no need to fixate on the shape of the human body. It should be a trick completely unexpected by Guillotine Cutter, who thinks you are new. Therefore picture a form that isn't that of a human, and change the shape of your body. That's impossible for me, I replied. But Ashino said this. www.bakatsuki.org web link 12/15. August 7, 2015. Monogatari series Kizumonogatari / Koyomi Vamp 013 Bakatsuki. Then are you able to abandon class reption? You are an annoying guy. My arms, which grew not like long swords but rather like large trees, just like millenary trees of a solitary island. They split off while they grew. Moreover, each of those branches followed my intentions and I was able to make them bend as I wanted. To thrust away the chest of Guillotine Cutter. To arrest the arm of Guillotine Cutter. I was even able to get Hankawa back. Somewhat I could also call it an over-the-top image. Certainly this is not like a human anymore. I threw away my humanity. In the end, I thought I couldn't imitate Dramaturgy because I still didn't throw away my humanity, rather than because I didn't lose the common sense I had as a human. For the me who wishes to turn back into a human, it is something I must not be able to do, I thought. I couldn't imagine myself except as a human. However, that prejudice after all was only a prejudice. Because I am already a monster. Like that, I slapped Guillotine Cutter onto the sports field, I constricted him, I shut him up. I don't know if it was the word of God, but I didn't want to hear anything the guy could spew, so I bound his mouth with ivy and made him faint. Obviously I won't kill, I'm going easy. I must get back Kishot's arms. Besides, if I could do such monstrous thing, it was thanks to you. Thanks to you. I thought I might be okay with not turning back into a human. Huff. I restore the arms. They instantly turned back. www.bakatsuki.org web link 13/15. August 7, 2015. Monogatari series Kizumonogatari / Koyomi Vamp 013 Bakatsuki. Whether I picture them or something, they are the arms I looked at for 17 years. All I had to do was remember them. Because I was inadvertently struck with the rash idea that if that didn't work, the worst case, I would have had to cut off my arms. Hereupon I felt relieved from the bottom of my heart. While I was at it, I had pulled Hanekawa toward me. "Hanekawa, are you okay?" Embracing Hanekawa, I looked at her neck. The mark of his fingers remained pitifully visible, but there was no internal bleeding. If that's the case, the mark should vanish immediately. It also appears that nothing else has been done to her. I'm glad. I'm really glad. That currently makes me happy more than anything. Ararajikan. Hanekawa, with a jerk, pushed my chest away with her hands. I don't know what she was trying to do, but somehow it seems she wanted to get away from me. Let me go. Okay. I unwraps my arms, and Hanekawa moved farther away from me. When there was a bit of distance. Ha Hanekawa. Thank you, Ararajikan. Hanekawa said in a small voice, looking away from me. But, don't get closer. Don't come here. Don't touch me, I mean. Don't tell me she was afraid of me? Because she was dragged into this? Because she was nearly killed? Or because the shape-shifting of my arms startled her? The me who threw away humanity is scary? www.bakatsuki.org web link 1415. August 7, 2015. Monogatari series Kizumonogatari / Koyomi Vamp 013 Bakatsuki. Such but, although. Oh no, it's not that. Hanekawa fidgeted. While fixing the cuff of her messed up skirt, she said, right now I am not wearing any panties. Back to 012 return to main page forward to 014 www.bakatsuki.org web link. Title equals Monogatari _series Kizumonogatari / Koyomi _vamp _013 and old it equals 289314. 2556-90522 TLG Translation Common Agreement v.0.4.1 www.bakatsuki.org web link 1515 August 7, 2015 Monogatari series Kizumonogatari / Koyomi Vamp 014 Bakatsuki Monogatari series Kizumonogatari / Koyomi Vamp 014 Bakatsuki 014 The following day, April 6 daytime. In other words, for vampires it is night. Kishshot and I were sleeping as usual in the room with shut windows at the second floor of the cram school ruin. I was awakened by Ashino. Mim in the end didn't come back last night, and did not even make an appearance. Where did his commendable manner of yesterday go? He was laughing frivolously with his flippant impression as always. Good morning, Ararajikan. I am tremendously sleepy. Just come here already. While my eyes remained half asleep, I was dragged out by Ashino into the corridor. During this commotion, Kishshot continued to sleep soundly, without turning over once in her sleep. She is a tranquil girl. Maybe she has no such thing as worries. What is it, Ashino? No, we are in the corridor. Well, Hartenderblade might not wake up, but as a precaution let's go to a floor above. Let's go to the 4th floor. The 4th floor. No matter how sleepy I was, I could tell at least that. But the windows there are open. Think what would happen if the sunlight hit me. It's alright. It's raining today. Rain. www.bakatsuki.org web link 116. August 7, 2015. Monogatari series Kizumonogatari / Koyomi Vamp 014 Bakatsuki. Really? Come to think of it, in these days it didn't fall. If I assumed it didn't fall in the period when I lost consciousness before becoming a vampire, then this is the first rain since the beginning of spring break. Well, it might also have rained while I was sleeping 12 hours during daytime. But since I am not watching the weather forecast, I don't know. So you can relax. Well, with your healing power, even if by some chance the sun shone, it's not like you would die immediately, right? Try saying it after experiencing your body evaporating. Let's go. Ashino climbed the staircase buoyantly. While watching my steps, I followed his back. It seems any classroom on the 4th floor was fine, as Ashino chose the nearest door. Once that door whose knob appeared to malfunction opened, even by sight that room was messy beyond salvation. He is not a lucky guy. Heave-ho. However, like he really didn't mind it, he aptly pulled out a chair on the spot, and sat down on that chair facing the opposite direction. I did the same thing. I just sort of tried to imitate him. That. I pointed at the traveling bag Ashino was holding in his hand. At last I had become witty-wick. That bag, until now, has carried Kishot's right and left legs. Which means. Yeah. Ashino nods. You guessed right. Inside there are the arms of Heartenderblade. I see. www.bakatsuki.org web link 2/16. August 7, 2015. Monogatari series Kizumonogatari / Koyomi Vamp 014 Bakatsuki. I took a big breath and felt relieved. I took the fact that Ashino didn't come back by morning to mean that Guillotine Cutter could have had the intention of not returning the arms of Kishot to us, and that made me worry. Kishot, like she didn't care about it, it is morning. Shall we sleep? And fell asleep. She is a tranquil girl, maybe she has no such thing as worries. Or maybe it is I who am too much of a wimp. However, we are talking about Guillotine Cutter, who defined honest to a fault dramaturgy and episode, who respectively returned the right leg and the left leg. The possibility that he decided to go back on his word sounded very plausible. No matter how much I fretted, I had no choice but to entrust that domain to Ashino, but I know what you want to say, said Ashino. You want to say that Guillotine Cutter kept his word well, right? Well, frankly speaking, I was thinking it. That's my chance to show my skill. This is a negotiation service, you know, although I could reveal that Guillotine Cutter in fact looked like he didn't really have the intention of returning them. As I thought. He was holding a considerable grudge, I believe. Because in the case of Guillotine Cutter, unlike the other two, he was acting out of belief. Belief. I remember the many times he expressed it in words. However, that would have been the mentality of a friend of justice, I suppose. Each person's definition of justice is different, you know. You shouldn't deny other persons simply, it's just that for you he was a villain. Besides, while saying one thing or another, the end result was this. He throws the traveling bag in front of me. A rough treatment. www.bakatsuki.org web link 3/16. August 7, 2015. Monogatari series Kizumonogatari / Koyomi Vamp 014 Bakatsuki. He gave them back. Because that was giving them back properly. Therefore I must have persuaded him. In what way did you persuade him? He is a sort of fanatic, being secular. From my point of view he is exactly like a fanatic, you know. Isn't returning the limbs of a vampire for him like relinquishing his faith? Therefore he must be a guy who understands if you talk with him, because even that guy is a pro. A pro. Exactly, a professional. My cross-examination maybe had become too heavy. Ashino said that and put an end to the discussion. Concretely, I informed him that if you finish collecting Heartenderblade's limbs, you want to turn back into a human, and also that even Heartenderblade is accepting that. In other words, Guillotine Cutter withdrew for my sake. Something like that, perhaps. Ashino made a subtle choice of words. It feels like he is insinuating something. However, if you think about it, this man is always insinuating like crazy in everything he says. Even if I swallow that, it might not have much meaning behind it. The pose of seeing through people, literally a pose. There are times when it might be just that. Well, whatever his purpose, it was a good thing that Kiss Hot's parts came back. Properly speaking, with that much, there is nothing else I should say. I don't even want to remember people like Guillotine Cutter. I opened the zipper of the traveling bag. The right arm, from the elbow to the tip, and the left arm, clipped from the round tip of the shoulder, were confirmed to both be inside the traveling bag. Well, at least he chose to keep the honor of the other party. Nevertheless, even then, he got a stern warning for kidnapping class reption. If this were soccer, he would have gotten a yellow card. A red card, I'd say. A red card would be having killed her, I guess. Therefore, if class reption would have died that time, Episode would have gotten a red card. Although, since you also wanted to kill Episode, I guess you cancel each other. www.bakatsuki.org web link 4/16. August 7, 2015. Monogatari series Kizumonogatari/Koyomi Vamp 014 Bakatsuki. I didn't have the intention to kill him, I tried to say, but I stopped at the last instant. That's just a lie. That time I got mad, and it couldn't be helped. No, I even thought I didn't care what happened. If Ashino didn't stop me, perhaps I would have killed Episode. The intention to kill was there. Well, that. What is it? You raise and lower your voice, you are really energetic, Ararajikan. Did something good happen? Ashino, who said this like he was making himself inconspicuous, pointed at the arms peeking through the inside of the traveling bag with his unlit cigarette. Anyway, with this you have gathered all the 4 limbs. Congratulations, Ararajikan. Mission complete. I am happy, like it's someone else's problem. Someone else's problem. Because it is. Well. It is someone else's problem. A word of praise. Practically even without any battle experience, a mere high schooler took as opponents 3 veteran specialists of vampire exorcism and got 3 wins in a row. I take off my hat at you. You are not wearing a hat. It's a metaphor. Ashino puts the cigarette in his mouth. In any case, it is still unlit. It may be a trivial thing, but Ashino, why don't you light the cigarette? Well, if I lit a cigarette now, wouldn't the anime adaptation become difficult? www.bakatsuki.org web link 5/16. August 7, 2015. Monogatari series Kizumonogatari/Koyomi Vamp 014 Bakatsuki. Why are you so obsessed with the anime adaptation? It's a deep mystery. Come on, Ararajikan, although I've said congratulations, you are making such a gloomy face. If you achieve an objective, you should be happy no matter what, right? Somehow it's like you are radiating an aura resembling a funeral vigil. I have a doubt, Ashino. I said. In addition to that, there was still another thing that made me uneasy. Until the last moment I was tormented over whether asking it or not, but when I see this buoyant behavior of Ashino, somehow it seemed silly thinking it over. I must ask what I want to ask. Because, after all, what is not answered is not answered. It's something about Guillotine Cutter. Yeah. Well, I do understand it intellectually. In the battle of last night, it was because he was negligent, in that way, that as a result I managed to win without getting badly hurt. I understand it intellectually. However, Ashino, it's as you say. With a single attack of a mere high schooler I could beat that dangerous guy. Isn't it somewhat strange? He is the guy who stole both arms from the legendary vampire, isn't he? HRM. Well, it's not just Guillotine Cutter, even with dramaturgy and episode it went like that. Those guys too stole the right leg and left leg from Kiss Shot respectively. Considering that, who you defined as not having any battle experience, or you could say that at most I had sometimes scuffled with my sisters, from the point of view of the outcome I defeated them easily. What in the world is the reason for this? I could have been lucky, maybe. It could have been unexpected. However, isn't there a more constructive answer? Are those guys weak? Or it is I who is too strong? Although I asked it, I'm not guessing an answer. It's really just a mystery for me. www.bakatsuki.org web link 6/16. August 7, 2015. Monogatari series Kizumonogatari / Koyomi Vamp 014 Bakatsuki. However, I don't know why, I got the impression Ashino knew that answer. The reason is that he is more neutral than anyone else. Because he is the person that tries to preserve the balance. Both of them. As expected, Ashino said it. Looking from their point of view, you are obviously too strong. Looking from your point of view, those guys are obviously too weak. Because you aren't a nobody, you are the subordinate of Kishshot Asarola Urian Heartenderblade. Well, it's just due to that. It's just due to that. He affirmed. Ashino affirmed it. If I must pick a reason why an amateur like you could defeat those guys, it would be that, well, there was still plenty of possibility you could lose though. That is to say, their chances have been thoroughly higher. Ararajikan sure is something plenty or not plenty. You have brought the circumstances down to an even match for me. The balance. Giving me the advantage of terrain, prohibiting death matches when Hanekawa was later taken in hostage, deciding a plan in proportion to that advantage. You have always made the circumstances an even match. However, if that's the case, then I will say it's strange. When I think that as a premise the story became strange. In what way would it be strange? Even with just a subordinate like me it went this way. With Kishshot in her full power mode, even those three together should be really no match, right? I am convinced of that. Kishshot's power as a vampire in her original form, even if estimated as a minimum, shouldn't be below the level of the current me, and on top of that, she has 500 years of experience. 500 years of experience. www.bakatsuki.org web link 7/16. August 7, 2015. Monogatari series Kizumonogatari / Koyomi Vamp 014 Bakatsuki. Battle experience. Even if facing dramaturgy's wavy blades, episode's gigantic cross, and guillotine cutter's dreadful resourcefulness, was it really possible to steal 4 limbs from Kishshot Asarola Urian Heartenderblade? I have only one conclusion. It doesn't seem possible at all. There's no way it is possible. Nice intuition, Ararajic, and if you trained you might become a pretty good specialist, you know. Ashino said with a broad grin. I thought he didn't intend to answer seriously, but that was not the case. He continued, and he answered my question. It's as you say, Ararajikan. Since each one of them could hardly defeat Heartenderblade, they tried to challenge her as a trio. However, even 3 persons together could hardly defeat Heartenderblade. It is just that if at that time Heartenderblade wasn't at full power, wouldn't the story be different? She wasn't at full power. I had a memory that matched those words. I can remember it without having to tamper with my brain. Kishshot said it. Her physical conditions were bad or something. I thought it was an excuse. If I assume that wasn't an excuse, therefore the battle between Heartenderblade and those 3 guys became an even match. Well, whether you asked that or not, I intended to hand it over to you, but since you asked, handing it over helps the flow of the discussion, Ararajikan. Occasionally even you show some sharpness. Saying that, Ashino casually took out something from a pocket of the aloha shirt, and he tossed it at me. That should have been a pocket that contained cigarettes, therefore I thought he threw at me a pack of cigarettes, but that was not the case. However, even so, that pocket in the aloha shirt worn by Ashino should not have been a pocket that could contain something that big. www.bakatsuki.org web link 8/16. August 7, 2015. Monogatari series Kizumonogatari / Koyomi Vamp 014 Bakatsuki. That Made up with deep red flesh was a heart. Eek. I involuntarily cowered, and the thing I caught with both hands fell on the ground. Somehow it petrified me to this extent. I was petrified, it means I have become unable to move. However, in contrast with the me who was unable to move, that heart kept beating with a lub-dub lub-dub. That's the heart of Kishotasaro Urian Hartenderblade. Ashino said. Without that heart, she battled the specialists of vampire exorcism Onan 3. It's very clear why her limbs were cut off. It's natural. Even I can understand that the power of vampires is specifically the blood. Without the heart that is the pivot that sends out that blood, it's a wonder she ended up just with losing her limbs. And she didn't even notice. Indeed. She was thinking they just stole her hands and feet even while being nearly killed. She must have thought the reason was that her conditions were really bad. She has too much trust in herself. She never thought that before. She knew the rug could be pulled from under her feet. I see. So it was that. I thought. I considered him crafty, but to think that Guillotine Cutter had even stealthily stolen the heart of Kishshot. Afterwards the three attacked her together, Although, stealing the heart from Kishshot without her noticing in itself must have been a really hard job, so I should give him more credit, I guess. Oh no, Ararajikan. Ashino refuted my words. Moreover, comparatively easily. The one who stole the heart was not Guillotine Cutter. www.bakatsuki.org web link 9/16. August 7, 2015. Monogatari series Kizumonogatari / Koyomi Vamp 014 Bakatsuki. What do you mean? That dramaturgy or episode stole the heart and Guillotine Cutter was taking care of it. Oh no, it was neither dramaturgy nor episode. Then who? Don't tell me that there could be a fourth specialist of vampire exorcism coming here. Such thought made a chill run down my spine. However, Ashino's reply was the following word. Me. Words won't come out at the moment. There were a few remarks that came into my mind, however I felt all of them were inappropriate in this situation, and I gulped them down. Thereupon Ashino, without being begged for, starts to explain they were theatrical elocutions typical of the villain of a historical play. To begin with, I just happened to pass by. I was tottering the streets at night, and there was a vampire possessing a power so formidable it's not even fun. I easily imagined that was the key killer, so in order to bring a balance, I extracted that heart in advance. Because I simultaneously expected that even several vampire exorcists would have come in this town, he says. Without her noticing it, I stealthily extracted her heart. Are you able to do such a thing? After having said it, I notice this is a stupid question. That's right, I saw it with these eyes. Ashino stopped the attack of dramaturgy, episode, and Guillotine Cutter altogether with a playful pose similar to a single-foot scarecrow. That's the skill he possesses. Even the negotiations with those three materialized. I am. Ashino replied. Although I don't mean that it's simple, the farthest from it, it was a freakishly hard job. In particular, it was difficult to extract her heart without her noticing it. Armed with a cross, garlic, and holy water, I somewhat stealthily hid my figure. However, it could have still gone either way. Even if it was not less than 5,050, it was not more than 5,050 either, and then unexpectedly, the dice favored the three. And then Kishshot, having her limbs plucked out, barely escaped with her life, and so she met me. www.bakatsuki.org web link 10/16. August 7, 2015. Monogatari series Kizumonogatari / Koyomi Vamp 014 Bakatsuki. And then, with your blood, she escaped death. Ashino said. And you became a vampire. I see. Then it would be no wonder I could defeat those three, I guess. Far from being a wonder, it satisfies me. The difference in potential was decisive. The fact that you told Kishshot of this cram school ruin as a refuge, were you thinking of it as atonement or something? You even went as far as affixing a barrier while we are inside atonement? I didn't commit any crime where I need to make amends for, you know. Therefore, even this is balance. Your involvement has tipped the scales. Scales. It was unexpected that the key killer turned a human into a subordinate. That was way too unexpected. As far as I'm concerned, the story should have ended when I managed to extract the heart, but with this it had been reset. A reset. Come to think of it, even those three said a similar thing. Kiss shot creating a subordinate was way too unexpected, like she was something like a believer. Kiss shot is a believer of not making subordinates. That said, even if I reset things, this time Heartenderblade has been too weakened with Onan 3, if we add you, the subordinate, Toon 3, indeed things weren't evened out. Then, even the fact you happened to pass by in front of Kiss shot who dragged me along, even the fact you happened to pass by the point I was attacked by those three, it was all on purpose. I couldn't help but think your appearance on the scene didn't have any sense, so that was the reason. Even the fact he told Kiss shot of this cram school ruin. Even the fact he saved me from those three. He did everything in order to bring a balance, so that was the reason. Actually, it happened by chance. Ashino said in a tone like he was making fun of me. www.bakatsuki.org web link 11/16. August 7, 2015. Monogatari series Kizumonogatari / Koyomi Vamp 014 Bakatsuki. You have just been lucky. I even think there's no way we have been, however, unexpectedly, it might have been that. Because you can only observe a phenomenon after it has ended. It means just by getting back the limbs, Kiss shot can't return to her full power, complete body, even if I get back the right leg, the left leg and the arms. Still, if the heart is missing, it is fatal. Of course. Ashino nodded to my words. Therefore you, after this, should have had to take the heart back from me, because even if the key killer got back her arms, it would still be you with more vampire power. As the fourth round, the battle between me and you, I should have brought a balance with that. Fighting with you. Should have been. Should, you say. Although I was spreading foreshadowing of being the last boss by being called by you utterly sloppy, it ended up being all in vain. Last boss equals Rasubasu. Sloppy equals Zyobora. Actually, that's not very effective. It doesn't stick out much. And although the words do look similar. To begin with, I don't remember having commented you were sloppy. You must be self-conscious about it and don't need others to tell you. That's not my intention anymore. Ashino, this time lazily holding the cigarette in his mouth, just with the movement of the lips, with that cigarette pointed at the heart I was holding in my hands. Look, I've already given it back to you, right? Who, huh? www.bakatsuki.org web link. 12/16. August 7, 2015. Monogatari series Kizumonogatari / Koyomi Vamp 014 Bakatsuki. If you want to call it atonement, then this is atonement. I am really sorry for what happened to Class Rep Chan. It's really unusual that an ordinary person was swallowed up in things to this point. Because normally people run away from Ki. That girl is a bit abnormal. I can't explain it adequately just with goodness. Hankawa Tsubasa. Not self-sacrifice, self-satisfaction. Even when she was nearly killed by Guillotine Cutter, she was worrying about me. After it ended, without even trying to say a word to blame me, she instead said such absurd things as "I'm sorry, I got caught easily. I should have been more careful. If you let me speak frankly." Ashino muttered like he was talking to himself. A kindness of that level makes me uneasy. That's not the way to talk. It's something even you should have felt. Am I wrong? He says it like he sees through me. As always, however, certainly it was as he said. I said a similar thing to Hankawa. Even after being told that Hankawa didn't change though. That girl is like forcing goodness on herself, isn't she? Of course, nevertheless I can't make it her fault. As it turned out, although I managed to rescue her with my tactic, it was you who executed it. I don't think I could make it up just with last night's thing. Ashino, only when he said those words in the same way of yesterday, had a meek expression. Good grief, what a disgrace it was. You can say that was already a burden to all the Ashinos who live in Japan. Don't drag your failure onto all the Ashinosans who live in Japan. Ha ha. Therefore, think of that heart as a substitute for a consolation prize, Ararajikan. It's from me with all my good faith. A consolation prize. www.bakatsuki.org web link 13/16. August 7, 2015. Monogatari series Kizumonogatari / Koyomi Vamp 014 Bakatsuki. As things stand, I am a guy of mutual trust relationships. With this the balance, it's a somewhat complicated issue, but roughly it's level. Ashino, saying so, got up from his chair. The right leg. The left leg. The right arm. The left arm. And the heart. With this kiss Hotasarolarian Hartenderblade has gotten back the parts she lost. In other words, with this you will turn back into a human. Let me say congratulations another time, shouldn't you rejoice? Honestly, it's a complex feeling. I said. It's like everything was schemed. That's thinking too much of it. If we assume someone schemed the state of affairs, I too am on the side which was under a scheme. It doesn't seem so, though. That it seems or it doesn't seem, that's a fact. Ararajikan, you are overestimating me a little. Even I have things I can do and things I can't do. I am ingenious, but I am not a genius, you know. What a bothersome guy he was. I may separate, but I don't scheme. Ah, that's right, Ararajikan, I ask you this just out of interest. Lately, haven't you been hungry? Well, I think I said it before, but since I became a vampire, maybe it's the immortality, I don't have much appetite. Ah, I see. Is something wrong with that? Is it? Well, just everything. Everything. Well, I just thought it must have been time for you to get hungry. At any rate, 2 weeks passed already, ha ha ha. Must have been hard. See you, Ararajikan. When you safely return a human, take care not to act rashly again. The person who happened to meet a key once, after that becomes easy to attract, so be careful. While talking without even returning the chair to its original place, Ashino went out of the room, leaving me still seated. www.bakatsuki.org web link 14/16. August 7, 2015. Monogatari series Kizumonogatari / Koyomi Vamp 014 Bakatsuki. Hey, what is it? Don't talk like you were leaving this place. I am leaving. The job is finished, looking more like a failure, but still, what's finished is finished, what has ended has ended. Ah, that's right, Ararajikan. About your share of 2 million yen and class rep Chan's share of 3 million yen, a total of 5 million yen, let's say we're even. Chara equals forgiving a debt FL. Flippant. Flippant equals carre. Hey wait, that would be me. Even, I said, even. Offsetting each other. My failure, and Hartenderblade's heart, well, that much might be enough, but it's a free service. Even if you don't stare at me like that, there's no catch. I may not look like it, but I am prodigal. As long as it can bring a balance, I don't intend to be fussy. Well then, give my regards to class rep Chan. Do you want to go without meeting her? Yeah. After all, it ended without a meeting. Well, I'd say there's no need to push it and meet her. Well, you may be right. Although since the affair with those three ended, even if you meet, it's not like you would drag her into something again, right? Don't make me think about it, now it would be awkward. Besides, Ashino said once more. After that. After all, that girl really makes me uneasy, he said. Clearly and bitterly. Well, even though I say so, for the time being I plan to linger in this town, so if you catch sight of me, at least call out to me. As if switching over, Ashino laughed cheerfully. At any rate, if you feel indebted toward me for pardoning the fee, oh yeah, just search and inform me of the key myths that circulate in this town. My specialty is primarily that one, after all. I hope you will forgive me for strife like this one that's not to my liking, really what? Even while saying this he was walking without changing pace. Ashino opened the door with the broken knob and went out in the corridor, and like that he closed the door. www.bakatsuki.org web link. 15/16. August 7, 2015. Monogatari series Kizumonogatari/Koyomi Vamp 014 Bakatsuki. There was no word of goodbye. On that subject I have never seen the scene of him saying a word of goodbye to someone. No matter how trivial the parting scene. He was always just laughing frivolously. Give me a break. Indebtedness. Give me a break. There's no way I feel such thing, leaving aside if it was plotted or not. Part of the source of this problem after all stemmed from you. Of course it was thanks to you that I was saved though. No. If I say that, how would he reply? You just saved yourself on your own, he would say. With this, right arm, left arm, and heart get. From Guillotine Cutter the arms. From Ashino Mim the heart. The missing pieces were all together. At last, the time for the complete revival of the iron-blooded, hot-blooded, cold-blooded vampire, the key killer, Kiss Hot Hasarola Urian Hartenderblade had come. Back to 013, return to main page, forward to 015, www.bakatsuki.org web link. Title equals Monogatari _ series Kizumonogatari / Koyomi _ vamp _ 014 and old it equals 289316. 2556 92422 TLG translation Common Agreement v.0.4.1 www.bakatsuki.org web link. 16/16. August 7, 2015. Monogatari series Kizumonogatari / Koyomi Vamp 015 Bakatsuki. Monogatari series Kizumonogatari / Koyomi Vamp 015. Bakatsuki. 015. Yahoo. That was the first thing Kissshot said with her complete form. That night, when she woke up, I handed over the 3 parts Ashino gave me to her regarding the heart. She was perplexed, but I told her the truth of the matter as it stood. Kissshot, liquidating the question with an easygoing "I see," bit into that deep red heart as if it were an apple. The rule is that you must not be present when a lady is eating. That means I went out into the corridors. And then after a little while I heard that gleeful scream. It was a voice of joy from the bottom of the heart. I opened the door and went back inside the classroom. The complete form of Kissshot stood there. It was the woman I met that day under the streetlight. The golden hair. It grew further, and it was a little done up in the nape. The chic dress, it was even much taller than me. Honestly, I thought she was beautiful. It's different from being lovely, or cool. I think that maybe, in my life until now, I've not even once felt such beauty before. No. Even that day I thought so. Undoubtedly it was the complete form. www.bakatsuki.org web link 1/22. August 7, 2015. Monogatari series Kizumonogatari / Koyomi Vamp 015 Bakatsuki. It was the looks of the complete her. Yahoo! I am back, I am back. Well, if in her complete looks she didn't do things like skip, jumping inside the crammed classroom, I could have gotten much better memories, possibly even feel deeply moved. She was in high spirits for sure. No solemnity or anything whatsoever. Kissshot, incidentally, it looks like Ashino has gone somewhere during the day. Yeah? Is there something wrong? Well, it's about the heart. I wondered if you weren't angry about it? It is all right, I bestow him my pardon, or to better say, I could not care less. Kaya ha 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 ha, she makes a laugh with a lovely voice not appropriate to her looks, and she continues to skip around. Still, I didn't notice it that much under that street light, but the bust of Kiss Shot is superbly big. Each time she hops it shakes, 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 shakes. I have the impression even the front of the dress is opening up. I see, so from that, 10 years, she undergoes that kind of progress, 17 years, and she finally becomes this, 27 years, huh. It's a mystery. If I begged her now that she is jubilating in such high spirits, maybe she would let me touch her breast. It's not like such a wicked impulse wasn't floating in my head, but I didn't have the courage to put it into practice. That is to say, there's a limit on how much you can be a spoilsport. Suddenly, Kiss Shot abruptly became motionless. www.bakatsuki.org web link to 20 seconds. August 7, 2015. Monogatari series Kizumonogatari / Koyomi Vamp 015 Bakatsuki. What, did she read my mind? I became uneasy at once, and, what's wrong, Kiss Shot? I asked. I even have the impression my voice turned inside out. Kiss Shot stood still for a while, and that intensified my uneasiness. However, after another while, what is it? She said. Just now, were thou talking to mine afterimage? A afterimage. As a matter of fact, just now I traveled around the earth 7.5 times. Are you light? Even if I do say so myself. That was a retort that I won't believe I actually made for the rest of my life. Just kidding, that was a fib. With 7.5 laps in this moment I would be in Brazil. Kiss Shot cackled. Wow, she sure is in high spirits. Ha ha. It feels so good. Being complete with oneself servant. Afterwards Kiss Shot continued to frolic for another 2 hours, but at that point naturally she seemed to have calmed down at last, and said that. Once again, let me thank thee. Of course, I thought thou would skillfully gather my limbs, but to gather even the heart of which not even I was aware of, that was really an unexpected task. I bestow thee my praise. I don't know. Even if she thanked me and praised me, I couldn't help but feel uneasy. I still couldn't shake the feeling of being the victim of some scheme. www.bakatsuki.org web link 320 seconds. August 7, 2015. Monogatari series Kizumonogatari / Koyomi Vamp 015 Bakatsuki. Like I was manipulated, that's what I thought. I just have the impression I did nothing but run around in circles rather than gathering them. I felt like they gathered themselves. If you ask me whom I have to thank, I'd say it's thanks to Ashino. But since Ashino would hate to hear that, then I'd say it's thanks to Hanekawa. Hanekawa Tsubasa. Incidentally, tonight she is not coming. We have decided the next meeting will be at the new school term. We decided it together. Well, obviously now that I defeated all the 3 specialists of vampire exorcism, I don't think she will be in danger anymore, but I still judged it best for her not to come close to this cram school ruin. At the point in time when I decided that it was also uncertain whether Guillotine Cutter would have actually returned Kiss Hot's arms or not. Even if I say the new school term, that's already the day after tomorrow though. It's already close. And when we meet again I will be a human. That's my expectation. In the end Ashino openly avoided Hanekawa and left, but I think I got the impression Hanekawa wanted to meet him. Come to think of it, I failed to ask her. Well, at this point it's too late. More importantly, Kiss Shot. I'm sorry to say this when you are so worked up, but if possible, I would like to be turned back into a human quickly. Ah, of course. Relax, for I will turn thee back into a human. But servant, before that, shall we talk a little? Talk. Some catching up, ha, nothing of the sort. It is just that I want to tell thee something about turning thee back into a human. The tone of Kissshot was calm. www.bakatsuki.org web link for 20 seconds. August 7, 2015. Monogatari series Kizumonogatari / Koyomi Vamp 015 Bakatsuki. Even her eyes were once again cold. It seems she's in her serious mode. Well, fine. Yeah. Then shall we change places? Not here. Wherever is fine, but let us create an atmosphere. Let us go up, said Kissshot. As I am told to do, I go out this room, and climb the stairs. It seems by now the rain had ceased, but it's already night. Wherever we go there isn't the risk of evaporating. Kissshot passed me on the way to the stairs, and then in the end we climbed up to the 4th floor. She chose the room Ashino and I went in during daytime. I thought we certainly would have talked here, but Kissshot seemed dissatisfied, and shall we go higher than this, she asked. The building doesn't have a rooftop, does it? I didn't notice anything that resembled an emergency staircase either. I said, and said Kissshot, as she glared at the ceiling. Crack. And a portion of the ceiling blew off. The concrete rained down, but she, without minding that, follow me, servant. Said that, and, like it was natural, from a point on her dress which on the large back was open like the bust part, she grew a pair of bat-like wings, she flapped, and she went out from the hole in the ceiling opened by her glare. No, there are too many things I could retort at. www.bakatsuki.org web link 520 seconds. August 7, 2015. Monogatari series Kizumonogatari / Koyomi Vamp 015 Bakatsuki. Your ecology is full of holes. I mean, Kissshot's glare has a physical destructive power. Even the viciousness of episode's eyes totally pales in comparison. It surpasses dramaturgy's shape-shifting power. She has grown wings. I tried to do the same thing too, but aside from plants that filled my daydreams crazily, until now, I had never imagined growing wings, so of course I couldn't do it. I used an ordinary jump, and passed through that hole. Well, even this is plenty amazing, isn't it? Ruins, the rooftop of the cram school. Actually, rooftop might not be accurate, after all we are just above the roof. On that roof, Kissshot was waiting for me sitting squatted. Under the starlight at night the much more melancholic image of the sitting girl possessed a bizarre charm. Though it was uncalled for, I became strangely tense. I don't know why. I cowered, and shrinked. Complete form, her complete looks. A complete existence. And a superior existence. I felt she was making me realize that after all I was nothing but her subordinate. Suddenly, Kissshot looks this way. What art thou doing? Come closer. Yes. As I was told, I sat down next to Kissshot. I do it and abruptly received a headbutt. She butted me. www.bakatsuki.org web link 620 seconds. August 7, 2015. Monogatari series Kizumonogatari / Koyomi Vamp 015 Bakatsuki. What hate are you doing? What art thou afraid of? Thou art my precious servant. I will not eat thee. Why, Yuri, right? Her words have seen through my heart. Certainly though, if I see Kissshot laughing in that way, I start feeling stupid for shrinking. Thinking that, I relaxed at once. Well now, what were we talking about? Didn't you say there was something you wanted to talk about? About turning me back into a human. You said that before. That manner of speaking was not accurate. It is not that there was something I wanted to talk about, I just wanted to talk and anything will do. Don't say something strange. Let's chat a little. I don't know when, but I remember being told that by Hanekawa. Well, although she is a vampire, she is still a woman, I guess. Maybe she likes to chat. So it's like a party to commemorate her complete recovery. Is it something I will need for when you turn me back into a human? It is needed. By me. But you have lived 500 years. You shouldn't lack stories to talk about. It did not happen much. Kissshot replies to my words. Because I just fought to the death the whole time with people like those three before I noticed it, I had become a legend. Well, a man like that brat is rare brat. Ashino. www.bakatsuki.org web link. 7:20 seconds. August 7, 2015. Monogatari series Kizumonogatari/Koyomi Vamp 015 Bakatsuki. Picking my heart without me noticing is quite a feat. Though I will not be stupefied, I do not even know when we crossed paths. I wonder who that guy is. Who knows? However, if I consider that that brat could have devoted himself entirely to vampire exorcism, even I tremble. I was lucky he is an opportunist who continues to stay neutral. Opportunist. I even thought it was a cruel manner to talk about him, but unexpectedly it seemed an appropriate title for Ashino. If I told it to him, he is quite capable of calling himself that with glee. So what happened this time in itself was stimulating. However, basically they were 500 boring years. Oh yeah, speaking of things I should talk of, in the end, I guess there is only that man. That man. I already told